So we're holding in Zevachim Dafim Tes. We're going to start in the bottom of Yechezkel base. Bottom. Now the what's going on over here is the Gemara is right now, really a lot of the dapim now in drushes. Trying to just find the sources for everything. So he said, Ezu Mekoyim speaks about the places of all the Zevachim, all the thing. Trying to write the sources. So the Gemara is now, where we're holding, it's like a little bit in the middle of the Sugya. The Gemara says, we start with the word Ashkechan, which is 6 lines from the bottom, in the middle of the Amud, in the middle of the line. The line starts with the word Velokach. So there it says Ashkechan. So we're now trying to figure out, how do we know that you have to do things with Tzofar? Tzofar means the north. Beis Hamikdash is as if, has the imaginary line between the north side of Beis Hamikdash and the south. And the korbanos that we're talking about right now, Chatos, Oilo, needs to be done in the north. And the Shaila is, what's the source? So in previous Dav Time Meches, the Gemara says, Ashkechon, we found Shchito be'oilo lemitzvah. We found you have to do Shchito in the north. Found a mitzvah, because you have to do it. Lechatchila. Kabbalah lavi lemitzvah. Ashkechon. Shchito ve'kabbalah le'akav minon. How do you know that's ve'akav? You must do the north. If you don't do the north, it's possible. Omar vadba'al v'iter rav v'shilo kavachomer. Give kavachomer. Ma chatos habo mikoach oilo me'akebes. Chatos, this is what we saw yesterday's daf. How do you know chatos b'tzofin? Because it says, b'mokom shetishoches oilo tishochet chatos. The pasuk says, wherever the oilo is, that's what the chatos is. So where's the chatos loaded from? From oilo. Me'akebes. Now by chatos, it says a few times. So the Gemara learned in yesterday's daf, Shabbos daf, that it's me'akev, because it says so many times, b'mokom oilo. I know chatos must be in the north. Oilo sheba chatos b'koicho erodin sheba keves. So oilo, the chatos learns from it. So oilo is the source. Chatos is what learns from it. And by chatos, it's me'akev. It has to be. So oilo for sure has to be me'akev. So when chatos can be chaperes achav Christos. Chatos is very, very unique and special because mechaper achav Christos. Change your clock, so it's easier. Omar Avino Hakashale. Here's the question. So it's interesting to say what the Having and the Maskom of the Gemara is. But the Having Gemara says oil is more chomer because chatos goes for it. No, oil is not more chomer. What is more chomer is chatos because of mechaper. Well, I know, but the Ma'aseh of the day, what's the source and what comes with the source? The source is oil. The conservative is chatos. How can it be the tough will be chomer? How can it be that the less important will be more chomer than the one which is more important? That's the shiloh over here, right? It should be like in a way that the chatos and the oil, chatos l'mais is the secondary source. So says the Gemara. So what is this? What is the again? What change exactly? The question, the answer. That's so clear. The Gemara says oil is the source. Chatos tougher can't be tougher less stronger than the ikar. At the end of the day, oil is the source. So the Gemara now is coming with this concept. What is the concept? The concept is okay. If I have A teaching on B, it can be that B will be more chomer than A. Rule. If A is the teacher, look about you feeling good? Baruch Hashem. Let's see you back. So you have A is the source, B is the learner. It can be that A will be less than B if A is the source. Similar. Is that true? Now we're going to go to bring a few examples of that. We have been tested with from top. The Meiser, the Nivdo, Meiser. What's the Meiser Sheni? Meiser Sheni. We have a set of batonos they have to do. Beis Hashem, we're all going to move to Eretz Yisrael. And again today too. To a certain degree, we can't do the whole thing. But we have a set of what you do with the fruits. You have fruits to grow, the produce that grows in your land. You have to do first of all. When there's Bikurim in the beginning, let's leave that aside, you have to do Truma. Truma is how much, by the way? 2%. It's 1 out of 50. That means the more Machmir do 1 out of 40, which is 2.5%. The more the ones that they're very stingy, they do 1 out of 60, which is 1.66%. And the Mida Beinanis is 1 out of 50, means 2%. Then comes Meiser Rishon, it's 10%. Who does the Meiser Rishon, who does it go to? to Levi. Then comes Ma'aser Sheni. 4 out of 6 years of Shemitah, you do Ma'aser Sheni. Ma'aser Sheni is another 10%. When you do that 10%, you have to go to Yerushalayim with the fruits and eat the fruits in Yerushalayim. And the Ma'aser Sheni. Now, Torah tells us, if you're outside of Yerushalayim, especially those days, you have fruits, you have vegetables, you're living in Eilat, I don't know if let's say you're living in the Golan, you have to go there to Yerushalayim. It takes it's a week ride on the horse. Your fruits are going to get spoiled. Right. So there's a concept called pidyon. You redeem the Ma'aser Sheni for money. You bring the money to Yerushalayim, and then you use the money in Yerushalayim to buy fruits and vegetables, to buy food. So you can redeem Ma'aser. You cannot redeem Lakuach B'Kesem Ma'aser. What is Lakuach B'Kesem Ma'aser? If you took the fruits, redeemed them for money. You took the money and you bought fruits. Now you can't redeem it again. Right. That's the rule. Right. So Lakuach B'Kesem Ma'aser ain't no nivdo. How do we know it ain't no nivdo? It says in the Mishnah. Halakuach B'Kesem Ma'aser shenit v'yipodeh. If you do it, you cover. So Rabbanan say, if it became Tomeh, you can redeem it. If not, Rabbi Yehuda says you have to bury it. So the first one, the Machlokes Rashi Tosfos over here, what's the raya? Rashi learns the raya from Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says once you bought Ma'aser Sheni, once you bought with the money of Ma'aser Sheni, you can't redeem it. It gets Tomeh, too bad, just bury it. Tosfos wants to bring a makor that maybe is right from Rabbanan. Even Rabbanan, they said only if it becomes Tomeh, you can redeem it. But if it's not Tomeh, you can't redeem it. And Tosfos goes back and forth, not going to go into it. That's why we have in the parentheses, that's according to Tosfos Shita. According to Rashi, take it out because the rise from Rabbi Yehuda. But what's the point? You see here, Ma'aser Sheni, can I redeem Ma'aser Sheni? Yes. Can it redeem what comes from Ma'aser Sheni? No. So you see that the source is more chamor, is less than is less chamor than the one that comes from it. So the Gemara also you're not understanding the lumdis. The lumdis is not that what comes from Ma'aser Sheni is more chamor. No, Ma'aser Sheni is more chamor. Ma'aser Sheni is so strong, it has the ability to be redeemed. But when you transfer the Ma'aser Sheni Kedusha to money, and without you buy money, you're not transferring all the power of Ma'aser Sheni. You're transferring only 70% of the power. So it doesn't have the power of redemption. So Adarabba, the Teilada is worse than the source. Right. It doesn't have so much Kedusha to be able to become Nivda. Okay. So what goes on? Pari Tumura. What's in the Torah? What's a Tumura? Tumura is an exchange of a carbon. We mentioned it. It's a very strange thing because it never works. But there's such a concept. Someone takes a carbon, so you know what? I'll exchange for another carbon. What happens is the other one becomes also a carbon, but the first one is not redeemed, and it's also you're not allowed to do that. But both behemoths have kedusha. The Tumura works now. Kedusha, when I'm magdish a behemoth, and the animal has to be with no blemish to be a carbon. If the animal has a blemish, it will not become kodesh. And maybe Rashi speaks it will belong to Hekdesh, but it doesn't become Kodesh. But by Tumura works even on Baal Mum. So you see the Tumura, which is the secondary, is more stronger than the Kedusha. The Gemara says, "Yilu Kachim by Tumura. Kachim lo yichal el Baal Mum. Kachim doesn't go on a blemish, kavua, on a regular blemish. Vilu ihi chayle. You see that Tumura is stronger than Baal Mum. So the word Tumura mikoach kachim ka'asyo. The kachim mikoach chulin ka'asyo. Another change in lumdus. Yeah, you know it says something. Kachim, the source. What did it chal on? Chulin. Meaning, so you say you want to take something which is chayil, turn it to kodesh, it has to be perfect, can't have a blemish. But Tumura is coming from kachim. Something was already kodesh. I want to now exchange it. So that's why it's chalos l'balamum. Once you're already kodesh, it's harder to get out. Once you're in the club, even if you don't act so properly, to get kicked out is a little harder. So that's what Tumura is chal. So Tumura says it's not exactly the same. It's not you want to say that something which is not that the source is stronger. Here, there's a reason why the tulad will be different. Says Mario Pesach, who eina tun smicho v'nesachi v'duvas chazav v'shek. Korban Pesach, you don't lean in it. You don't bring nesach, you don't bring wine, and you don't pick up the breast and leg. Sunny day, if you have Pesach was left over, what happens to Pesach left over during the year? We saw already earlier in the Masechta. It turns to be a shlamim. tone smicha v'nesach the maschal shaykh, then you lean in it, you do smicha to the shaykh. You see that when Pesach's change becomes secondary, it's stronger than the original. So when Pesach Shas Shana Shlamim. That we also saw earlier. Pesach, and there's alumnus over here. Pesach is not that it changed to be Shlamim. Pesach automatically Shlamim. There's a big brisker that tells us that. Pesach is not that once Pesach is over, so now the korban will change to be something else, become Shlamim. Pesach is the Shlamim during the year, and Pesach is something else. So we mainly didn't really change. So the Gemara said, so you don't be rash over there. So that was Ted number one. How do I know that Oila is Me'akiv to be in the north? Because Chatos is Me'akiv, Pesach, Oila, which is the source, cannot be less than the something I'll learn from it. Says the Gemara, another source, Omakra Ha-Oila, it must be an Oila. Okay. So that was the limud that Oila is in the north. Continues the Gemara on. Again, we're learning here Be'ezim HaKayman, all the karbonas where they are, the Gemara is going to bring the source for each one. What is the source? Asham. Asham is another carbon. Minalo and Debayit Sofon. How do I know it needs to be the north? Dichtiv. It says in the pasuk by Asham. It's almost clear. It's almost like written neferish in the pasuk. Wherever you have Oila, you have Asham. Ashkechon Shchito. Kabbalah Minalo. Okay, that's Shchito. You have to do the Shchito in the north. How do I have to accept the blood in the north? It says Vesdamoy Yizroik. So the word Yizroik is Riko. Riko is not necessarily in the north. Because the Riko is in the Mizbeach, and depends which corner you are in it. So when that Riko is that. But Yudash, it says Vesdamoy. So Vesdam is telling you do Shchita, and then the blood is where the Shchita is. Means Kabbalah. Kibul Domoy now B'tzofin. Mikabel Atzov Minala. That's what we learned in the beginning. That's what we learned yesterday's daf. There's three things that need to be in the north when you do the korban. Three things. A, the shchita has to be tzafon, meaning the animal has to be standing in the north side of Beis Hamikdash. The kabbalah has to be tzafon, you have to receive the blood has to be received in the north. And the mekabel, the person holding the kli of doing the tzafon, of doing the kabbalah, needs to be in the north. The one who's doing the shchita doesn't have to be in the north. He can be standing in the south and doing the shchita in the north. But kabbalah he has to be. How do you know that? Says the Gemara, says damoy ve'es damoy. The word ve'es is extra, so that's it, right? Hashkechon la mitzvah. Okay, so we found they have to do these three things to be in the north. Le'akev minol, how do I know it's me'akev? If you didn't do it, it becomes pasul. It says more kroach chinukri. There's another pasuk. V'shachat es hakeves. That's another pasuk by Osham. V'shachat es hakeves. I'm reading the pasuk inside. B'morkom v'shishchat hachatos v'zoyla. We'll talk about Osham. Osham should be shechted where chatos and oil is. That's talking about mitzvah. So you see, it says over here that it needs to be in the north. Why do you have to tell me again? I already know that Asham has to be in the north. It's teaching you it's me'akev. If you don't do it, it ruins it. So how you buy the kid? Tanya, you know why I need it. When you have something which you have a list of items that are learned together. Then you have one that comes out of the list and is different than the list. So that's one of the Yudgil Mizit term Deshman. I have a list of 10 items. Then one of them becomes unique. So you say, if it becomes unique, maybe it's different than all of the 9. Until the Torah doesn't tell you differently, I don't know, it goes back, it has all the rules of the other 9. So in our case, we talk about Asham. There's many Ashams. But Tzaira is unique. Why is it unique? Because you have to go and put the blood on the ear and the finger and the thumb of the Mitzvah. Ooh, that's different than all the Hashamas. So it's Yatsa bin Eklal, Ladum B'Davar HaChadash. It's out of the rule to be different than the other ones. So maybe it doesn't have all the halachas of the other ones. The Torah has to tell you it has the halachas of the other ones. That's what Gemara says. Ketzat. That's our pasuk. That's what it says. That the din of Osher b'tzoyer is like chatas and oilo. She'eito would learn kechatas Osher. Why tells me chatas Osher? Mato would learn kechatas Osher. Fishiyot Osher b'tzoyer or lidoy b'davar chodesh. Osher b'tzoyer is different than other Oshems. In what way? You're born yad or born regular. You have to put it on the right thumb, the right toe, and the right ear. Maybe you won't have other dinim of korban. You don't have to put the blood in the mizbeach at all. For that, Talmud lo yimar kechatos or shavu. Ma chatos teuna matadomim v'imul gebe mizbeach. Chatos, you have to put the blood and the fat in the mizbeach. So I have to tell you, don't think that you're so different. So that's why I have to tell you. So you're telling me, oh, Asham says it has to be in the north. Then it says like it has to be in the north. So that means like no. The second time it has to be in the north is but Mitzayro, which is different. I have to tell you, it's not that different. Says the Gemara, okay, I have a solution. Tell me by Mitzayro. If I tell you by Mitzayro, so then I don't have to tell you by the other Hashamas. Because again, if I tell you you have other Hashamas, I tell you it has to be in the north. So okay, that's there. What about Mitzayro? Mitzayro is different. So I don't know Mitzayro. So that's what I have to write on Mitzayro. Okay, so write on Mitzayro and don't write by the other 9. So if Mitzayro has it, the other 9 have it.
How would you learn by the other 9?
From the Mitzayro. What's bothering you? Because it's Asham.
Just because it's Asham. Okay.
So yeah, what's bothering you is, one second, if Mitzayro is different, maybe, how can you live from Mitzayro to the other 9? Once I'm telling you Mitzayro is different. So maybe if I tell you about Mitzayro, if I didn't tell you a regular Asham, so you have to put it on the Mizbeach. And I tell you only about Mitzayro, I'll say, okay, Mitzayro is very unique. You have to put it on the ear, you have to put it on the thumb, you have to put it on the Mizbeach too. Maybe the other ones you don't have to put on the Mizbeach. So that's really the next question of the Gemara. Look at the question. Gemara says, when something is new, you can't learn from the other 9, from the rule. Maybe if that's on the base. So here comes a discussion. It's machlekes. When we have a rule. You have 9 things. You have 10 things. One goes out, and it's different. So now that one cannot learn from the other 9. That's pashut. Could the other 9 learn from the one? That's a machlekes. Some say, no, it's unique. You can't learn from it. Others say, no, you can learn from it all the normal stuff. The normal stuff you can learn from it. The unique thing that came out for us, Tays puts at the bottom, the thumb and the ear that we don't find anyplace else, you can't learn from it. But the normal stuff that it says to put in the mizbeach, you can learn from it. So it was, if you can learn from it, Gavaldik. So you should have read only Mitzayra. Why you don't have to write in the other Shamas? For me, I learn Me'akiv. But if you can learn from it, so I have to write in both. That's what the word asks. You can't learn from each other. The 9 can't learn from the 1. And the 1 can't learn from the 9. I need to tell you that it's in the north. It says, meaning, once I said, and I told you that this Osham is not different than any other Hashamas, so I already know it. So why do I have to tell you north again? Meaning the pasuk has 2 parts. The beginning of the pasuk says where you do it. The end of the pasuk says Kechatas Oshamu. So Chatas Oshamu tells you it's not different than the other ones. So I have to tell you which place it is. The fact you tell me both, that tells you that what? That that from here you learn that's Me'akev. The north has to be the north. You learn for everything else. So the Muhammad Mazuta Breda Maila Avino, no. So maybe when the Torah says like everything else, so again, Mitzayra was one of the list. Got on the list to be different. Torah says, hey, it's not so different. Okay, maybe it's not so different. What's bringing you back? Only for things that need Kehuna, like Kabbalah, or putting on the Mizbeach. Shchita, which is a little less of a category. So maybe Lo by itself. Maybe we don't have to do it in the north. It says, Moim came name a crook kachatasu. The Polish should say kachatasu. Why kachatasu Hashem? The Polish says kachatasu Hashem. You're saying extra words. Kishar Hashem is here. Okay, so it has to be like other Hashems. Says the more lama lekshur lechatos lama lekshur loylo. Going back, the pasuk by Hashem says that b'mkoyim sheishchat esachatos ve'esoylo. It lives from chatos and from oil. Why both? One of them is enough. Says the Gemara, Omar Avin Itzrich, I need. Actually chatos will actually oilo. Have him in a chatos ve'echan lomdo. If I would learn from chatos, say chatos where I learn from. That's yesterday's daf. Me'oilo. Dover alone be'ekesh choyzu melamad be'ekesh. Oh, now we're getting a little into the sugyo of learning from other things. Chatos is learning from oilo. Now you want to teach the Hashem. So chatos learns from oilo by hekesh. You want to teach the Hashem by hekesh. You can't do that. Okay, very good. So just tell me to oil and not the chatos. Why are you doing both? I would say usually you could learn hekesh from hekesh. Why don't I do hekesh to chatos? I'll go straight to the source. That's why I do hekesh to both. Oh. You know what the Torah is telling you? The Torah is teaching you something new. I want to teach you a limud that has to do with kachim. Because we can see all these things have to do only with kachim. You cannot learn a hekesh from hekesh. How is the Torah going to teach you that? Does it say like this? I'm going to do a hekesh to chatos. Not good enough. Why? Because chatos has hekesh from oil.
Right.
The source is oil. I have to do hekesh to oil. So do only oil. No, I want to teach you that you can't. It's not good enough. How do I teach you? I'm doing a hekesh to chatos, telling you it's not good enough, and then I do another hekesh to oil. That's why I learn I can't do a hekesh from hekesh. The fact I'm saying both. This, by the way, just to mention that what's the idea that the source of all suffering is an oil. Oil dish the chatos, then oil dish the asham. Why? So the Shmuel brings that it says suffering is north, but suffering is also lashon tzafun, hidden. Connected to Yitzhahar, which is hidden in the heart. Where does oil come from? Come for? Hiru live. It's in the heart. So by oil it says tzafun clearly. Chatas and asham comes for a deed. So it doesn't say tzafun, then you learn from oil. So it adds the Shem Shmuel. So why really is in the north? If tzafun, it's tzafun. So at the end of the day, every time a person did something wrong, and it was b'shaygig, did a mistake, something was wrong in his heart. He wasn't perfectly connected. So it needs to be tzafun, to connect to the tzafun. But the source is the oil, which is clearly the heart. That's the source. But anyway, now the Gemara shifts into, we learn now the fact that the Torah told us that the Ashur can now learn from Chatas only. And I say Chatas oilo, from here you learn that if you learn by Hekesh, you can't learn, Hekesh can't be a double Hekesh. Continues the Gemara now and says the following. You learn from here. You learn from here that the idea of Hekesh to Hekesh. What do we learn? It says by Par Kohen Mashiach, Kohen Gadol, who made a mistake, has to bring a par. It says over there that you have to pick up the fats like the shlovim. What is it going to teach you? The diaphragm and the two kidneys. These are the fats that go on the mizbeach. The gofiksim. It says it clearly in the pasuk. Why are you trying to tell me that it's similar to shlovim? So I want to learn, that's the Gemara said earlier, we learned it a few days ago. I want to tell you that by Avodah Zarah, by Seir Avodah Zarah, so they did Avodah Zarah mistake, you also have to have this fat, this piece of fat, the diaphragm and the two kidneys go in the Mizbech. How am I going to learn it to Seir Avodah Zarah? I'm going to do a Hekesh to Par Helem Dover. How does Par Helem Dover know? Because you learn from Par Kohen Mashiach. So you have Par Kohen Mashiach, Par Helem Dover, and then you have Seir. So where does it say that you take the Yisrael, you take lawyers, the diaphragm and two kidneys put in his back? Par Kohen Mashiach. Now, Par Helem Dover learns from Par Kohen Mashiach. I want to learn the Seir of the Zara from Par Helem Dover. So it's Hekesh from Hekesh. Says the Gemara, the Gufi looks, it doesn't say Par Helem Dover. When Par Kohen Mashiach with the Gala. Lahachi Yitzchak Kasher Yuram, that's why you have to say the word Kasher Yuram. Teniyav Kiman Dichti Begufi. It's be written as if it's written in the pasuk itself. If you would just, if you want to write these words, you would say, okay, I want to learn the Zara, Sierra the Zara, from Par Helem Dover. And Par Helem Dover, I want to learn from Par Kohen Mashiach. I can't do that. It's Hekesh for Hekesh. So that's why I have to write extra words. From here you see, you can't learn Hekesh from Hekesh. So if anyway I want to have to write it, so just write it clearly. I want to teach you this Yisayid. So that's why I have to tell you this way. So let's do the Hekesh. I'm saying if Dover Hekesh does Dover Hekesh, so why don't I do it Hekesh? Let's actually do it. I prefer to write it clearly than do hekesh. So the Rava learned from another source. Another place where the Torah had the opportunity by Kochi to teach you something, hekesh from hekesh, and we did. To tell you, hekesh doesn't learn from hekesh. That's why the Torah made a hekesh and read extra words, but didn't write it so clearly. To tell you why you write extra words, it should not be hekesh for hekesh. Say clearly, I would not know the hekesh doesn't learn from hekesh. So let's do hekesh for hekesh. You can't learn hekesh for hekesh. So the Torah, by that, showing me I can't do hekesh for hekesh. Word continues. Now they're going to be the sugya, going to go on to the next topic. We also, all the things learn from each other. So we established, hekesh doesn't learn from hekesh. Says the Gemara. The Gemara summarizes. We're just learning out two sources. The hekesh doesn't learn from hekesh. Either we learn from Asham, that Asham learns from Chatas and Oilo, and not from Chatas only. Or we learn it from Sierra de Zara, that doesn't learn from parallel and davar, but has to have extra words to teach you. Says the Gemara, something that learns from a hekesh, can it teach with Gzera Shalom? Right? So A, B, and C. B learns from A by hekesh. Can it teach to C with Gzera Shalom? Can't teach to C with hekesh, but can it teach with Gzera Shalom? Says the Gemara Toshma. That's all the following. We have Tulmus Oimer. We have a very unique, interesting thing by tzaras. When tzaras goes on the entire body of a person, if you have a little tzaras, bad. He goes because of tzayro, he's kicked out of the machane. There's a whole process. But if he's fully tzayro, he's tar. Kula parach tar tzar. Kula parach taru. That's what the Torah says. What's shat? Brought down it's for him, that there's no absolute bad in this world. There's not shach to be everything has a little bit of kedusha in it. If he's the absolute bad, it means it's not bad. That's such an idea like this. Okay. So we learn by the gufa that when a person is fully mitzayra, he's tired. What happens by clothing? Clothing also have mitzayra. What happens if the entire bag, entire garment turned to be tzaras? Does it become Torah or not? Says the Gemara. How do you know when you have full tzaras and entire clothing it's Torah? It's interesting losha when you learn Pashas B'Tzayro, Pashas Tazriya really, the losha karachas and gabachas. In modern Hebrew, what's a karachas? Baldness. Karachas. What?
A bad haircut's full of karachas.
Oh, it's a karachas. But in the Torah, you have karachas and gabachas. Karachas is the back, and gabachas in the front. By clothing, the Torah uses the same terminology. It's interesting. Karachas and gabachas. The Torah uses the same terminology by clothing. So the fact that we use the terminology, we learn from each other. My karachas gabachas b'godim, my karachas gabachas b'odom. My law the parach b'kula Torah. Afkan parach b'kula Torah. By odom when it's fully mitzayir is Torah. Now we're not talking about the guf. The Torah speaks about there's different types of tzaras. There's a tzaras for the guf, for the body. There's the tzaras for the head. When a person is bald, and there's a tzaras on the bald area, there's a special concept of tzaras over there. There it doesn't say that if he's fully mitzayra, he's tar. It says fully mitzayra in the body. So for Gemara, it starts by saying, it says karachas gabachas by clothing. It says karachas gabachas by an odom by his hair. Gzera shava. I learned one from each other. One second, I know by the hair, kula tar. Says the Gemara of also binolam. How do I know by the head that's tar? It says in the pasuk, the pasuk says from the head until the feet, from the kepalach till the feet, right? So that's easy. So you compare the head to the body. We find by guf if he's fully mitzvah tar. So also by the head, kulatar. So what do we see over here? How do I know? So it's called fully mitzvah is tar. The body fully mitzvah is tar. How do you know by the head fully mitzvah is tar? How do I know? Hekesh. The rosh of makish the rosh of the regular. Hekesh means that they're written the juxtaposition. What is it?
Juxtaposed next to each other.
Juxtaposed. They're right next to each other. How do I know clothing? Gzeira Shava to head. So I see from here that something which is Lun Be'ekesh can teach Gzeira Shava. Because the Hekesh is body to head, and the Gzeira Shava is head to clothing. Davar Lun Be'ekesh, Gzeira Shava. What's the shlug of? How do you shlug this up? What are we talking about? What is the subject that we're talking about? Tzaras. I want to learn kachim. Kachim is different than tzaras. That's what it says right away. Don't bring me a raya from kachim to don't bring me a raya from tzaras to kachim, because kachim is different. Kachim, you have the rules. You don't learn lamed for lamed. You can lo yoimar safoyna b'asham. I'll be right to that. Against this, because by asham, don't say safoyna in the asham. Don't say north by asham. We just learned out at the beginning of our daf. I'm trying to learn they do asham in the north. Don't say north. There's a gzeir shava. It says kodesh kadoshim b'chatas. It says kodesh kadoshim b'asham. The word kodesh kadoshim mentioned both. Gzeir shava want to each other, and you learn that the same way of kodesh kadoshim b'chatos is in the north. So kodesh kadoshim b'asham is also in the north. But how do you know by chatos that's in the north? That was yesterday's daf. Hekesh to'ilo. So it's a hekesh teaches gzeir shava. Lav le'memer dova lo behekesh ein nechoizum lamu gzeir shava. So you see from here, it doesn't. Once you learn from hekesh, you can't teach gzeir shava. That's why you don't learn by asham from gzeir shava. Says the Gemara, "V'dilmo mishum diikel lemifrach v'lechadash kem lechapez lechav krisus." Maybe I'll tell you why. You know why you can't learn hekesh from you can't learn asham from chatos? Chatos is very special. It's mechaper and the worst chatoim, even kares. Asham not. So maybe that's why you can't learn asham from chatos. So the Gemara, "Kodesh kadoshim yisereksiv." It says kodesh kadoshim many times. So you have it's almost the gzeir shava is forced. If it's only once, you can ask the question. But I have many extra words for kodesh kadoshim. So I have so many, I would be able to do gzeir shava even with a question. So why do I do the gzeir shava from hekesh? So how do I? What do you see from here? Davar lo behekesh cannot teach gzeir shava. That's why asham cannot know north from gzeir shava from chatos, because chatos learn from hekesh. That's why I have to have a different pasuk. To have kechatos asham or chatos aylo to tell you another hekesh by asham itself to teach you, because it can't learn from chatos. So what is the Gemara maskana right now? You see from here, davar lo behekesh, something which lo behekesh cannot teach by hekesh, and cannot teach by gzeir shava either by kachim. We found they can teach by gzeir shava by mitzvah, but they can't teach by kachim. Davar lo behekesh. They can't teach now behekesh and now by gzeir shava. One thing you do see over here that the gzeir shava is a little stronger than hekesh, because the Gemara said you can't teach behekesh, maybe you can teach by gzeir shava. I said no. But you see the gzeir shava is a little stronger than the hekesh. Very good. Rabbi Say, we'll stop over here. You guys, early in the morning.